Hello everybody, welcome to my new channel. And here I'll be playing mainly City Skylines 2. However, I definitely use all of the mods and I also take my time to do some decoration and also ploppables. I only use ploppables by Rico to get just a little more um, realism uh, instead of everything just kind of showing up next to each other. But this is one city that I started to work on. I have never made a video before, so this one turned out pretty good. I just didn't get a lot of recording from it. So I figured I would just show a little bit of this one, and then these I all placed with the brush, these trees. But all these buildings I placed with Ploppable, and I just wanted to show this city to kind of show what I'll be doing here, hopefully over the next quite a few videos as just little segment of this neighborhood that I did. Let's see if we can see it here. I did, I started here. I did this little section, just this little section, and it still took almost 2 hours. And I did individually place these trees, and bushes and rocks, things like that. So it takes a lot more time. So if you're looking for, gameplay that speeds through and just rushes, rush, and follows all, I guess how the game should be played, you could say, then you're not going to find that here. Um, but yeah, so if you're interested in watching videos of me building a new town, decorating it, and we'll just kind of go, neighborhood by neighborhood for each episode, I'm thinking. Um, and then we'll go from there, uh, depending if people would like to watch it. But if not, that's okay too, and uh, I'll just play by myself. Okay, so if you're interested in starting a new city with me and seeing, the process of Ploppables and utilizing the developer mode and other mods, definitely stay tuned and we'll hop into it next. Okay, so here we go. Let's go ahead and we'll do a new game. And the map, I'm not too concerned about which map. I mean, other than I don't really want a flat map. One of my favorite maps is the Barrier Island, just because it's flat, but it also has the hills and mountains in the background. So we may go with that map, which is the same map I used on the city I just showed. Corral Riches is all flat. And like Archipelago Haven, it's broken up, but I do like the mountains in the background. All of this doesn't matter because I'm going to change some of that. Um, and with the style of gameplay we're doing, it's going to take some time. So a lot of this sort of stuff doesn't even pertain to us until we get that far, which I'm not sure how long it'll take. And let's see, Lakeland's pretty nice, but I'm going to do a lot of terraforming anyways just to make the map our own. And because I'm familiar with Barrier Island, why don't we just go ahead and select that map? So I'm going to go with North American, and I'm going to have natural disasters on just because I'd like to see the tornado every now and again because it seems there's only a tornado and constant forest fires. Unlock all we're gonna do. I'm not going to do unlimited money because if worst case scenario we need money, we can always add money with dev mode. And I like to see once, the city starts to build up, I like to see the income and, I still like to keep the balance that the gameplay requires anyhow. And unlimited money just takes that out completely. And so we'll keep that as is, and we're going to disable tutorials. And the city name, I'm just going to go with the randomized generated one, Tremont. However, if anyone who sees this has a better suggestion for our city name, go ahead and leave it in the comments below. And, I'll pick the most popular one, or if only one, if anybody even comments, because this is my first video. So we can go ahead and always change the name later. So let's go ahead and start the game. Hopefully it doesn't take too long to load. Usually it's pretty good, but I am using an external hard drive that I save the game to, and I play the game from that. Okay, here we are. Perfect. That didn't take long at all. And I just like to do one of these and one of those just for graphic rendering purposes. And one of the mods that I have is Legacy Flavor. And I just want to, I like to keep it on day and sunny. Uh, if it's even going to change. I don't like that overcastness. I've been messing with the photo settings and settings, trying to see if I could clear that up. I'm not too sure. So if you have any input on that, I'd love to hear it and would be great. So grateful for it. On what settings can change that. Zone settings. I like this override is, oh, not override. Sorry. Let's see, where did that go now? Oh, it's on here. Whiteness toggle. So, like when you go to, zoning, you can go ahead and take that background, you know, coloration out just for easier, it's easier to view. However, I don't do zoning because these ploppables will come with their zoning, or they did. Let's see if this one does it. Yeah, so, and then if we put a road next to it, I'm going to delete this, but just for example's sake. Yep, see, so when you place the ploppable and the ploppables in here are by Rico, and you can find it in the Thunderstore mod manager. So see, places that zoning grid in there right away for you. And so if you have a broken grid, you can even place it there as well, and it will still work. And I like to keep this paused for now, and we're gonna get rid of that. Get rid of this, get rid of you, and bye-bye. Okay, now the fun part. I also have the anarchy mod, but I like to turn it off when I don't necessarily need it because it prevents any unforeseen mistakes from happening. So what I like to do here, because I'm not a fan that the starting point is on this island, I like to have more flexibility and choice when it comes to where my city layout is going to go, or where we start and grow from. So I'm gonna, oh, anarchy will work for this, so we can just get rid of, basically, let's see, let's get rid of this. All this can go bye-bye. Sign off. And we're going to get rid of these to there. And let's zoom in a little bit. And if any of the quality on this seems lacking or dull, please let me know, and I will definitely make a point to work on adjusting settings and things more. Um, but as I said earlier, this is my first gameplay video ever. So I'm doing my best, uh, despite having severe ADHD, um, and among other things. So bear with me, but we'll get there. You know, this is going to be a process. If and even if it, and that's if it continues, of course. The more support, the more it will continue. Um, So that takes care of that. This is exactly how I started out the city that I showed in the beginning there. Um, Deleted that, and then I mean, that school I showed you is basically right here. Okay, so next I would like to open some more tiles. And this is just going to give us a little bit more room to get started. And I'm just thinking, I can't remember. We want to look at our wind direction so we can get a good standing and idea of where it is exactly we want to kind of go with our industrial area and potential and our power, etc. So it looks like everything's blowing to, we'll just call this the north or something. I live next to a Great Lake, so that's east for me. So big water is always east for me. So we'll say we're going to call this way north, west, east, and then the south down here. And the wind is blowing from the south mostly, so we kind of want to get our industrial area, you know, ultimately when our industrial area is fully built and ended, we would want it to come up to this line. So I think if we get it right around this area, that would be great. And so we could start it over here potentially. Um, so let's go ahead and buy those, that, just just because we need to keep it even, or it'll drive me nuts. Okay, so we're gonna get those, and I kind of think I want to start my residential area on this side of the highway this time. So we're gonna go ahead and also we'll get 16 of those, and I think that'll be a good, I mean, that'll definitely be a good start. I'm gonna get rid of this. For you, okay. So now the next thing that I do is check my contour lines. Because one thing that drives me nuts is when I'm building a road and I think it's going to be completely flat and great, um, it winds up breaking either immediately or down the line when side roads get added to it, etc. Because that one hump is there, which is pretty hard to see when you're that far along. So we're going to go ahead and take this height with a right click. I just want to kind of clean this up. We're going to keep some of this hill along the highway. I mean, the highway is going to change many times. But to start out here, we're going to just get us some buildable area. I mean, this is exactly what would be done, you know, at the start of a project like this in real life anyhow. I do what's called grading. Um, and this inlet, I don't like those super shallow inlets because they can cause issues later on, as far as if you put a road close to that, and then the road will flood. And then it's just like, oh, come on, because then you need to delete the road, raise the terrain, lower the terrain back down, replace the road. It just can be a hassle. So, and I mean, that's probably going to happen anyways, just because, as we know, the game is not in tip-top shape. And I believe that might be one of the major issues that they have yet to address. But I'm sure they're working on it. So we'll just kind of go ahead and smooth this out. Now this is, believe it or not, the quick and easy part. The hard part and the time-consuming part is decorating, placeable, putting down all the placeables. I mean, it's easy to just draw a huge square of zoning, let it do its thing, but that's kind of what I'm trying to avoid, because that's when everything just becomes mundane, looks the same. You get 50 of the same style houses in a row or buildings, and it's just ugly, and they look like they're on top of each other. So, yeah. Alright, let's see. We're going to smooth out this side. And we'll replace some of the hills and curves and things later on. It's just nice to get a good footprint, and, place your main highway to your first neighborhood, and to not have any issues is just wonderful. So, but unfortunately, this process is part of the long-term, you know, uh, success of everything, and not having to redo and redo and redo. I mean, this is probably my 75th city that I built since the game came out, because I always get so far, and then all of a sudden something happens that just, ruins everything for me. All right, so we've got that all flattened out. I forgot to look back here, and yeah, there. Get some of that. Oh, oh, duh, because I have the soften tool on. So we're just going to kind of come through here. I'm just going to assume all of this is raised. A lot of these trees will be replaced by neighborhoods and whatever else. Um, I tend to like to have my forestry like in a mountainous region. So I think when we get that far, somewhere in here, I'm thinking, I'm still getting used to these keys, even though I've played so much. I'm so used to the Sims 4 keyboard commands. Um, but what I was saying is, eventually I'd like to put in like some kind of mountain, some lakes, things like that, just to add appeal, um, and make things look more natural, and uh, yeah. Okay. Sorry, I get a little OCD sometimes, even though this isn't perfect. All right, there we go. Oh no, now I gotta straighten it out one more time. We're just gonna leave that little hump. Okay, let's get to what we came here for. Oh, all right, so the big task. Now, I don't know if we're gonna get anything plopped today. I'd like to, however, real life happens, and as I mentioned earlier, this is can be really time consuming. Um, so we'll try to do our best, and hopefully you stick with me throughout, and I'd really love to, turn this into a series, and I'd love for engagement and people to give me their thoughts and what they would like to see, and maybe you have something in mind that you want to see decorated, and maybe I could do that. Um, and maybe even on a live stream sometime. But again, we'll see how this goes here. And we're on a highway. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and let's see. So this is our main drag. It connects to both or outside towns to the south and the north. So we're going to go ahead, place. For my main roads, I try to just go with what it's gonna eventually wind up being upgraded to anyways. However, traffic in that, it takes a long time for that to start kicking in with this process because, you plop a neighborhood and it's probably half the population of just fill zoning the neighborhood, which for me is fine because I like the aesthetics over, the progression speed. Um, yeah, and it gives you a better satisfaction of what your final result with your final result. Um, I kind of want to bring this underneath this highway for access to the other side. Where are we at? -7. Yeah, so I'm gonna bring that about here. Then we're gonna go a little bit and then back up. And where's that for? There we go. That's a good. That'll be nice. Nice connection there. Oh yeah. I can live with that, and then we can always decorate around it. My favorite thing is, well, they also came out with a mod for it now, which is Find Stuff, but with developer mode turned on, you can get access to the Add Object menu, which does give you more objects than Find Stuff does. For example, boulders. Find Stuff gives you boulder 1 and 2. But the developer mode, if you push the home key, gives you all of these. But even better is boulder random. So when you're placing, it'll change the boulder up so you're not using the same type, and which makes it look muddy and not great. Um, but for now, let's see. I want to get rid of that. Then I need to think about our connections from the highway. Now, this is going to be our main drag, Meadow Street. I'm just going to make it a little longer just so, because we know eventually we're going to need it anyways. Okay, so let's go ahead and make our southbound exit. And we'll probably we'll have to change up some of these lanes. So let's go ahead and we are going to shoot for a 4-lane on the exit, or approaching the exit, because I want to use a 2-lane highway for the exit itself. Now, why did that break? Oh, I see. Because went the wrong direction there. There we go. And then we can turn this back into 2-lane. Let's turn snapping off. And I found I've been watching so many videos of people playing, and I'm like, how do they do that? How do they do that? And I finally figured out, being able to minutely adjust it to turn snapping off. And that makes everything easier. I'm just gonna, oops, I'm gonna get rid of these 3 lanes because we'll fix that once we do our northbound exit entrance. Okay, so yes, like I said, I want to do a 2-lane one-way highway for my exits because you always get a lot of traffic on the exits because all the people coming to your city. And we're going to give this an elevation to get us up and over these train tracks. And 3% grade is not bad. 1% is even better. We'll just do an even 2. And I like to double check right here because those lines don't always mesh up well. And we are going to go back down. What do we got here? We can, let's see. I'm going to kind of bring this here. And then the longer also you make these exits, the better your traffic is going to flow. I have found because it gives the cars more distance and time to come to the intersection. But I always also try to use a roundabout at my highway exits because it keeps the flow of traffic going. And then our main road is nice and long, so it gives plenty of room for influxes of traffic to disperse very well and avoiding constant traffic headaches. Now we need our entrance to the highway here. So let's go to our bulldozer. I'm going to get rid of these a little more. I know power lines really give a good aesthetic to realism. However, in city skylines, I'm just not a big fan of seeing them, so I tend to put them underground. However, I'll keep, the necessary ones. All right, because we've got plenty of other stuff to place around our city too. And power lines are just so small when, a majority of the time you're probably viewing your city from a height. Alright, so let's go over here. Replace road tool. I think I shouldn't need anarchy. And we're gonna go back to a 2-lane here. And there, actually. Very nice. Sorry about my sound effects. Pew, pew, pew. I tend to do that a lot, so I hope you enjoy them. I make them myself. Alright, so let's just jump on into it. And, I tend to adjust things down the line anyhow, so the initial layout isn't all that, important necessarily. I just like to ensure these connections are made. And once they're made, it's much easier to go about updating it or updating them or changing them around later on when they're surrounded by buildings and decor and things, and it's a lot harder to see. So it just kind of looks a little funky. There we go. Fix that. And this is going to become 4-lane because we've got 2 lanes and 2 lanes. So 2 plus 2 is 4. And that's why we are going to a 4-lane highway. And I just like to give a little distance again to disperse that traffic. And when I'm going from 4 to 2 lanes, etc., I like to, go from 4 to 3 to 2 because that just makes more sense than abruptly ending 2 lanes. And that transitions nicely there. Okay. I kind of want to look at this a little closer. Yeah, that's not bad. I think we can live with this for now. All right. So we've got our north and south bound entrance and exit on the west side. Now we need the same thing on the east side. Yeah, we need the same thing on the east side so the northbound traffic has a way to exit and enter. And usually I would bring a loop over to connect it here and make it, um, to go to the west to our left here. But because I did this underpass, we don't need to do that. We can just basically do the same thing we did on that side to this side. So I'm going to go ahead and add some distance to our 6 lane on this end, on our east end. Oops. And I noticed that. How many others saw that? And if you did, comment what it was that I missed. But now I got it right. Oh, gotta love that 180. Okay. And for the meantime, my road ends, I just put the roundabouts or cul-de-sacs, whatever you want to call it. I just put those on the ends just for my peace of mind because in real life, they wouldn't just abruptly like end a road like that unless it's, currently being expanded. All right, so now I'm trying to think. Yeah, so we're gonna do our entrance to the northbound that way, and then our exit. I think we can work with that. So our exit again, I'm gonna do 4, and on the exits, you can get away with a 1 lane road, but you will find pretty quickly after your population starts to go up that you will have to upgrade it to a 2 or 3 lane exit anyways. But usually the most traffic's or entrance, usually the most traffic is the incoming from your exits. Um, let's see. So for this exit, 4 lane. Bop. And okay, and we're gonna. I mean, I'm probably a little excessive on extending the distances, but in the long run, it makes a difference and makes a much less painful headache when it comes to fixing these or upgrading them, especially if you place anything near the edge of the roads. You'll have to delete it to make the road wider later on. And that's no fun. Okay, so let's take our continuous tool, 2-way, and we're just gonna get our curve, and we're gonna bring this guy on in a little bit, bring him down here, and I think we're gonna do another roundabout right there. So let's pop that in, bam, and then I'm just gonna stick with the 2 lanes for my exits, entrances, etc. for now on this one. And I like to bring like, highway entrances kind of out in the direction that it's gonna go. Like I don't like to come straight out at a 90 and then have this huge curve. So this is kind of nice not having to manipulate the height. Okay, so we're gonna come in right about here. Let's get our 4 lanes. Place tool. And I guess we could just connect there. And 4 and 4. And also, if the audio throughout this at all gets low or it's hard to hear or anything like that, please feel free to let me know. Again, this is my first video ever, and I want to make sure that I give you as quality content as possible, especially if I continue to make videos. So please feel free to leave that in the comments as well, or what you think, or how I could go about doing something different. I'm open to suggestions and comments completely. Just don't be rude. All right. So our connections there are made, which is the most important thing, just because once you start plopping neighborhoods, you need people to be able to access them in order to grow your population. And it's going to take us time to grow our population because, as I said, ploppables it's time consuming, and it gives us way less of an immediate population growth than um, just autofilling a huge like zone section. Okay, so let's go ahead and I think we're gonna start our first neighborhood squares. This video is getting pretty long already. I'm not sure how much am going to even be able to cut out because video editing is also going to be new for me. And so here we're going to just oh, this is always tough for me because I don't like, well, I know we're going to have a neighborhood, but we also need to get some industry in. Well, we can just go with outside connections for now. And also, when placing roads, unless necessary, to have anarchy on, you should have it off because it will break existing zoning, and it could cause other craziness in your grids for those who are grid eccentric and like to have, just as I do, I like to have as much connection as possible, just so everything's, you know, nice and fluid. All right. And we'll eventually be going out this way too. And I put the 4-lane road for our, light um, commercial area, which it will eventually become. So our border right now is back there. Then now for my neighborhoods, I like to use these 2-lane roads because I hate going in to delete all the traffic lights because you really don't need traffic lights within a residential zone. Um, and it will replace it with, I believe, yield, slow down signs. I've never had any traffic issues, and it just seems to work out really well. So for this to start, I'm going to get my grid tool just to give us a layout or, somewhere to kind of go by. And I want plenty of room between here and that main road because um, of noise complaints from citizens later on from the commercial sections. And I'm just going to do that. Now, a lot of this is going to change, so bear with me there. Now, let's see if we can zoom in nice and see, what did they put? I believe that is, well, they didn't put anything, so there's no yield signs, but again, I've never had an issue with traffic or accidents at these neighborhood intersections. You could also use alleyways, like I did in the city I showed at the beginning of the video. Um, but I didn't realize I was using those when I made that. And those also have no traffic lights at the intersections, so you could use those, but I thought they were just a bit too narrow for what I was trying to achieve. So this is gonna look good. And then instead of doing connection, no, that's gonna give you a whole lot of traffic. So I just kind of do one. I just try to give it like 1 to 2 connections, sometimes 3, depending on the size of the neighborhood. And we can always add more later, but this gives us our good start here. Okay, so for this episode, I think, because it's running really long, what I'm gonna do is here we'll just start doing some ploppables so I can show you a little bit of that. So let's get some commercial going for our Meadow Street here. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit so we can, and you see there with that whiteness toggle off, or the whiteness toggled off, you can get a better look at your assets here to see, is that even, something I want in my city? And this is a good building here. And I'm going to turn snapping off. I do have the surface tool, but I just like to snug it to that corner. And you see how it places that zoning right underneath there for us right away. And it'll be good to go once we add our city services and such. We may not have to do a whole lot of tree work because we're building this in a forest, but once we get our neighborhood laid out, we can go from there as far as aesthetic purposes. Now, these are mostly gas stations. As you can see there, North American Commercial Gas Station, and that goes for like the first 4 pages is like European and North American gas stations, but we do need a gas station. I don't know about your area, but gas stations by me are typically on the corner. So I'm going to snug this into the opposite corner from where we just were. And so it did plop. Okay, good. Let's see. Yeah, that looks really nice. Very good. I like that. Oops, pushing the wrong keys. Yeah. So then it could be an exit over here. Got an exit there and an entrance there. All right, perfect. Very nice. Ooh, hello. Okay, zooming back out. I do. Okay. So then let's go on in a little bit more. And let's plop some more stuff and junk in these. There's still gas station. Oh, yeah. Let's see. European commercial. It's still a gas station. Here we go. More gas stations. Okay, so maybe like the first 5 pages and a half are just commercial gas stations. Now this looks like a corner lot of some sort. Turn the snapping back on so we can see where it snaps. So this I would want against another corner. And hop over here. There we go. Okay. Now I wish these had more like, oh, this is a Dollar Tree or something. That would be nice. So now with my surface tool, as you can see, that's another mod. It gives you so many great surfaces to work with. And then there are also surface mod packs that go with this mod to add even more surfaces. But what you can do with an existing building is just grab the surface it has already and extend that for purposes like this. And then doesn't that look more like it was meant to be there? That looks good. And we will have to add in some parking lots as well. I think I'll put a decent sized one. And put that right here. You can also build custom parking lots, which I'm sure we'll get into, but not in this episode or the next. Because again, as we can see, this is a process. And you know, you take your time and you'll love the results. I wish the signs were different, for more different, like the colors and things, to give it a little more separation from other buildings, or, to have the ability to change those signs would be amazing, and like put in your own custom name or something. But for now, we live with it. I mean, they all look like they're owned by the same company, essentially. So I'm going to do this, and I'll show you why with that gap. I want to bring in an alleyway, because I see there's advertising on the side of that building in the back. And, they're only going to do that if there's some kind of exposure. So let's give it an alleyway, and then later on we can add some dumpsters in or something. And we'll just connect that over here. I'm going to take out these crosswalks just because they're unnecessary. And stop lights. Okay. So, let's see here. Starting to get a little bit of a commercial district going. And I'm liking the way it's looking. And we'll have more on this side as well. I'm thinking I might delete a bunch of these trees before the next video just for our visual purposes and ensuring everyone can see the video okay. But for the remainder of this video, I think what I'm going to do is plop some houses so we have a start to our neighborhood. And you see, like you can see, so much more detail to the buildings and the assets here. And it just really tells you, like, yes, I do want that. Or no, I don't want that. I like this house is really nice looking. I like some of these houses, it wasn't until being able to plop them that I realized how nice they look and how well they made some of these. Like it's really fun. This almost looks like another version of that house, so we're gonna skip that one, and that's another version. There we go. And I like to leave gaps in between the houses because that is what breaks it up and really gives you that natural, you know, development of the neighborhoods, rather than, you know, everything squished in together and filled in. It really gives it much more character, to say the least. And this one, I'm gonna take snapping off, and I'm gonna see how far back I can place this because I kind of want it to have a driveway. And will that connect? Yes, it did connect. And just because I'm thinking of it right now, and we are here right now, I'm gonna bring that in, bring that in. Whoops, come on, grab the right node. Okay, and then let's take this back a notch. And I'm gonna take that back a notch. We're gonna grab the grass, hopefully. Come on. Maybe if I do this, that'll help. Come on, grab the grass. There we go. We're gonna do that. Bring that out. Bring that out. Can I bring that in? Let me. Good. Kind of have to. It's kind of tricky to grab the one that you want. There we go. Beautiful, beautiful. That's what I like to see. Okay. All because I wanted that was kind of crossing. Oh, well, that won't matter. I just wanted to add some natural, like stone or something in here. Give that a little better look. Let's see. How's that? That's not too bad. But we'll get into a lot of that kind of detailing, I mean, later on. Usually I do the details once I have my neighborhood's place. So, and again, the second video will be determined on, if or how well this video does, which I'm really hoping it does well. And I'm hoping people have bared with me here so far. So, that's one of these houses where it looks more like it should be, this should be facing the front of the street, and there should be like a side alleyway. So I'm going to get rid of this one for now because I'd rather place it somewhere else, and we just don't have the infrastructure for that one built up yet. But for my first video, I hope you guys enjoyed it, or at least somewhat enjoyed it, and maybe you're excited about seeing a city built like this in City Skylines too. But for all intents and purposes, just this little bit that we did is like longer than an episode of, auto-filling zones and such. So if you would like to see another episode and have this series continue, please like, comment, share, subscribe, and I mean, even one subscriber, that would get me to do another video, I'm sure, and where we can continue this neighborhood and sprawl out and get to our school. So, I mean, for the next episode, I would finish up some more of these blocks, add a school in here, and then also get our utilities built in and probably shape out our industrial zone because we will be needing industry. As far as high density and medium density, all of that, that's not going to come until we have a proper, amount of population and um, and enough neighborhoods to support something such as a downtown area. But yeah, thank you for tuning in and thank you for watching the video if you've made it this far. I hope to see you guys again. And other than that, I'm going to sign off for now. And you guys enjoy the rest of your day and please come back. Thank you.